So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Airwaves. And today we have a very, very special guest from the U.S. Embassy, Miss Danielle Korshak. How are you today?
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
It's a
Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So, Miss Danielle, to start off, we're going to start out very late. Can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your hometown?
Sure. So I'm an American diplomat. I'm currently working in Baghdad, Iraq at the American Embassy. I'm relatively new here, about 6 full weeks. So I still have a lot to learn, a lot to explore, a lot to discover. And in the embassy, my role is the spokesperson. And I've worked and lived around the world. So I've been to Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
I've worked in Latvia. I've worked most recently in Portugal.
Oh, nice.
And I've worked for many years in Washington covering different kinds of relationships.
Okay, and did you have like the same position, like working as a spokesperson, like in those countries that you mentioned?
No, so I've worked in other positions in other embassies around the world. So I've worked in consular affairs. I've worked in public diplomacy, so as a spokesperson, but also doing cultural and educational type of events. I've worked on political issues as well in different ways. So we've done sort of the gamut of what we can work in in the embassy.
That's interesting. Now, what about your current position at the U.S. Embassy now? So you're the spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy here in Baghdad. Could you tell us like more about it? And have you like delivered any speeches?
Sure.
Yes.
So as a spokesperson, my primary role here is to represent the United States to the Iraqi public. So how can I communicate directly with Iraqis? And that's primarily my goal is to communicate to them. Sometimes it's about explaining and contextualizing American culture. Maybe it's about American society. Sometimes it's explaining our foreign policy agenda as well. And that's really the kind of main idea I have, is to reach out to everyone in Iraq and be able to be accessible and open and available to explain anything and everything about the United States.
Okay.
At the same time, if I may, is that it's also really important to work directly with Iraqis and speak to them and hear from them as well. Right? It's not just one way. Diplomacy is fundamentally about relationships.
It's a two-way street,
Exactly. So it's really critical for me to hear and speak with Iraqis directly. You know, what they're thinking, what their concerns are, what they want. And try and use that in a way that can help us build relationships together.
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
That's
just
amazing. So what are, as a spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy, what are some challenges that you've encountered?
So like I said, I've only been on the ground for 6 whole weeks.
Yeah, not yet. Not a lot of challenges.
So there's still a lot left to do and a lot to see and discover. But I think for me, one of the biggest challenges that I have in terms of really being able to communicate directly and effectively with the Iraqi public is Arabic. It's so hard. It's going to take me a lot of time, energy, and effort and studying to really learn it. I'm so impressed by both of you because you speak English perfectly.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Find our best.
So to be able to get to your equivalent level of Arabic is going to take me some time.
Yeah.
So I think that inhibits me to a degree, but luckily I have people like you that I can.
Of course. No, we're always here to
And there's other ways. We have staff, of course, and other members of the embassy who speak Arabic well. So I think that's something we're going to have to devote a lot of time and attention to in the future.
Yes, definitely.
And also it's a way of me like opening the door to the culture here, society here, life here. So it's really worth all the time and effort I can put into it. But it is a challenging language.
And maybe you can start with like the Iraqi dialect. It's really interesting. It's kind of like strong and heavy. And we have some words that are really like difficult to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe you can start with the Iraqi dialect. It's kind of simple, like some basic phrases like shakumaku and all.
Shakhbarkum.
Shakhbarkum.
I have shukran. That's as far as
See, you have the shit.
Yeah.
Now you just get added to a few little more.
All right, maybe write them down and I can practice them over and over again.
Okay.
What do they mean?
Shakkumaku is the equivalent of what's up.
What's up?
Oh, yeah, that's very useful. Okay.
Shakhbarkum is how you doing?
Okay, I like this. All right.
Yeah, so like we have these phrases, like we always repeat them.
Okay.
You know, like shakumaku, shakhbarkum.
Do you think you will be impressed if I can like throw those out there in conversation?
Would be fun.
Yes, definitely.
Would be
Okay.
fun. Would be fun.
I'll practice them this weekend for sure. You can have me back later.
Okay. Now, what about your ongoing projects? Are you involved in any?
Yeah, I mean, our embassy is really active here. Like I said earlier, it's really important for us to talk to Iraqi people, hear what their concerns are, what they're interested in doing,
Of course.
and come up with ideas of ways we can kind of support them, right, and partner with them on issues that are relevant to them.
Definitely. Yes.
And in particular, we've been working with younger students and young professionals on what they may need for themselves to better their own chances and economic opportunities for the future. So one example would be we have a partner here that we work with called the Level Up program. And in that program, we focus on young women students and young women professionals who are interested in developing the professional skill sets with the idea that it'll, through hard work, right, and dedication over the course of basically a year, they can really better their opportunities.
Definitely.
Some of the skills we provide, for example, would be English language skills because it is useful, right?
Very much so.
Internationally speaking,
Yes.
right? If you want to go through economic opportunities cross-border or research or academia, whatever it may be, just basic communication with people of diverse backgrounds and cultures.
Yeah,
English
having a
is
second
fundamental.
language, yes, especially as English.
Exactly. So we work on that's one area where we help develop the English language skills. They've also expressed real interest in management, like business management skills.
Oh, that is amazing.
So those who want to
Much
like
needed.
build, small businesses or want to work in major companies. We talk about organizational dynamics within a business, effective leadership, and other areas within business management that helps them use those for the future. And then also, of course, computer skills, right?
Those are always
fundamental.
essential. Yeah.
I mean, if you have a strong base, you can really, it unlocks a world of possibilities,
yeah.
right? I mean, we have a digitized global economy. Computer skills are absolutely necessary. So that's what we have been working with. And those are the groups of people that we're trying to help. And they're dedicated and committed. And it was actually one of the first events I went to when I was here.
Awesome.
Was their graduation ceremony. So the 2023 class finished, they got certificates.
That's amazing.
And I was able to just talk to them and hear their stories, like why they joined this program.
Yeah.
What do they want to get out of it? And how does all these skill sets help them in their future? And I was really amazed by them because not only are they incredibly smart and dedicated and professional, frankly, just warm people, but their interest ranged from one wanted to be like a creative candle maker with a small business.
wow.
One was a biomedical engineer and financing,
variety.
banking, English teacher. I mean, it was across
From all walks.
Yeah, exactly. It was really fascinating.
That's nice. And are these programs still available? And how can our listeners apply for them?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We have a lot of opportunities available. So we have an embassy website. We also have a Facebook, Instagram page, and we post periodically when the window of opportunity opens up for applications for the variety of different programs we have. We have a Fulbright program. We have Humphrey program, which is for professionals. We also have the Iraq Youth Leadership program as well, which is more for high school students and undergraduate students. It's a 4-week exchange program. It's free.
Exchange program.
Yeah, so we send
That is too old for it, right?
Oh, yeah.
high school students, but undergraduates.
Still very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But for those
To
who
have that access to this.
Exactly. And so they go on a trip to the United States for 4 weeks. They learn about kind of community building skills, leadership skills, and they learn about the United States. They travel throughout the country, which, as you know, is not a monolithic place. It's diverse. It's different.
It is, yes. You get people from all around the world, and you get to just, it opens you up to a whole different world, literally.
Yeah, exactly. And they learn English at the same time. So it's a really great opportunity.
It is.
Check out our websites, check out our Facebook and Instagram. We have a lot of opportunities throughout the year. And so the applications open periodically and people can check out if they're interested, if they qualify, and if they want to apply.
That is amazing. What are some amazing opportunities that you're opening up here for us? We really appreciate that.
No, we're happy to do it.
Thank you. So, Ms. Danielle, I have noticed that you are amazing at public speaking.
Thank you.
From this small interview that we have here. So, as a spokesperson, with more social media around, do you think that speaking on TV or for announcement is old-fashioned now? Is the internet enough for like spokespersons now? You think you can do like speeches online via the internet?
I think that's a really interesting question. I mean, I said this in the very beginning. I think fundamentally it's about communicating with the Iraqi public, right?
Yeah.
I think I can do that on TV, on radio, but also over coffee, right?
True.
Or in front of students. I don't
True.
think the kind of technology or platform has to determine the parameters of how I work with the public here, right? I think it depends. I mean, you know, some people listen to radio, right? Young people may listen more to social media, what's going on in that sphere. Maybe different generations listen or watch TV. I mean, I think it's different, right?
It is from person to person.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're a radio host, but I'm sure you also watch what's happening on Facebook or
Definitely. Instagram.
Right?
Instagram is my go-to.
So I think there's a lot of ways in which we can communicate with the public.
So you're basically planning on using all of these like ways of communicating with people, like
Why not?
TV, radio, social media, and all. That's really nice. And you mentioned something about like talking to young people.
Yeah.
So apparently this is a part of your job. Like it's not all about delivering like official speeches or making like official announcements. It's also about like talking to people in person.
No, exactly. I mean, I can deliver formal speeches on a certain topic. I can write articles or be interviewed by the press, of course. But again, like diplomacy 101, like what diplomacy is truly about is relationships, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't have to do that in a formal way. I mean, it's also important for me to understand the Iraqi people and all
The
those
culture and
differences.
the community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I want to talk to students and hear what their concerns are or what they're hopeful about for their future, that's really important for me to know, right?
True.
And so why not, speak to someone over a cup of coffee or address people in person?
That's amazing.
I think that's like some of the best parts of my job, frankly. Such a
just
privilege to be able to do so and be here and be welcomed by them.
Okay.
It's
now,
amazing.
Today marks the International Day of Universal Access to Information. That's a long.
I know, it's a mouthful.
phrase. Okay, so why is it important to celebrate this day? And apparently different global organizations do celebrate this day every year. So why is it important to us to know it and to celebrate it?
Well, I think it's also important to understand why we have international days of whatever,
So and so,
right?
yeah.
We have a lot. And I think, commemorating this day is an important way of raising concern or profile of a certain issue, of educating the public of what we're interested in working on.
Yes.
It also can help mobilize political will or resources towards a certain program. And at the same time, depending on the International Day theme, it also helps sort of celebrate achievements of humanity, right?
Definitely, yes.
So I think it's a really good opportunity for us to discuss an issue of interest, right? It gives us sort of that opportunity to do so. And in terms of universal access to information, I know it's a mouthful, but I think it's important for us to kind of think about what that really means, right?
True.
And how that may affect us as individuals. I mean, we think about universal access. I mean, what does that really mean fundamentally to us? I mean, I think simply put, information is power.
It is.
Right?
Definitely.
Informed citizens can make informed decisions.
Yes.
Whether maybe that's going to the polls or holding their government accountable. If they know how the government should be run, right? Because they're informed.
Yes.
They can hold their government representatives accountable. And outside of that as well, I mean, we look at epidemiologists or researchers that are able to share information about deadly diseases, for example.
Yes, yes.
I mean, they're able to then work together to come up with and create safe, effective vaccines. Or maybe climate scientists, right, are able to share predictive models to help farmers better grow their harvest.
All about
right?
information.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot of ways in which, that issue is really important to us, particularly in democracies, no? I mean, being able to kind of share, receive information is so fundamental to freedom of expression. Media, as you know, plays a huge role in this, right?
Definitely.
Not only in terms of sharing information, but receiving it as well, right? I mean, it's a fundamental right in freedom of press.
It is, yes.
So in that sense, I think it's really important. And if we look at how technology has shifted the way information is shared or developed or produced. I mean, that's really monumental. I mean, the internet, which is now an old technology, right?
It is. I know. Can you believe it?
It's like basically, I mean, both literally and figuratively rewired the way we work, where we live, where we have relationships, where we understand the world. I mean, it's incredible, right? And I think as we think about access to information, it has its real positives, right? Transparency advocates can, for example, have databases, and regular citizens can share when they think corruption is happening, right?
True.
Or information can be shared that can help affirm someone's rights. Okay, so human rights.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have authoritarian governments who can use access to information in a negative way to oppress people's rights. Or you see in governments, when something happens, what do? They shut down the government. They shut down the internet. The internet, right? And stop that kind of communication. So when we think through, like, I think it's really important for governments, but civilians, private citizens, private companies, civil society, to really think about this issue and how they can engage on it, and how, as democracies, there's always this delicate balance, right? Between
you have to find that perfect sweet spot.
Right, between, making sure we maximize the advantages of information flow while minimizing any of the risks involved as well.
Definitely.
Right? And then so I think in that sense, like, this issue is really, really important to our lives every single day.
Yes.
And so while the title itself may be a mouthful, it affects how we live.
It affects everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And it could be like the biggest advantage. I mean, it's a way of protecting ourselves. I mean, if you face if somebody treats you badly, you can just post something online, okay? And as you said, accessing information could connect the world, researchers and all. I mean, we don't have to now work hard, go to libraries and ask people. Everything is near, right?
With one click of a button. Especially with AI around.
Yeah, that too is a new adventure we hadn't fully understood. But also, I think, in terms of democracies as well, I mean, access to information and sharing that's open, that's reliable. I mean, it allows innovation, right? I mean, the free flow of ideas and open debate, I mean, allows innovation. It allows people to kind of determine from the ground up kind of the best ways of maybe fixing issues, right? Rather than having something imposed top down. I mean, it also allows economic opportunities, right? And so I think we as democracies are fundamentally we need to care about this issue.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Right. Now the fun part.
Oh yes.
Because this interview feels like it's a sandwich, right? Fun part, serious part, and then a fun part.
Well, no, you made some great points, Ms. Dania, and we really appreciate that. So lastly, reflecting on your experience in Baghdad, how has it been for you? And also, finally, we are curious about your taste in music. And maybe you could recommend us.
To do it. It's a tradition now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you can recommend a good song for us.
Okay. Well, I've only been here several weeks, so there's still a lot to learn. But I have to say that it's still very surreal to me that I live and work here. I think about Iraq as cradle of civilization. I remember learning about it in school and textbooks and trying to understand. And here I am. I mean, it's pretty incredible, the history and culture of this place. So, I mean, only 6 weeks in, but I have a very long list of places I want to go and things I want to see, experiences I want to have. But I think I really need to look towards both of you for really good recommendations.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Be happy. Well,
I'm sure we have many.
I can help you with our local dishes.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Food.
I'm a
I'll take food.
Yes.
Go for the
specialist.
Okay. I will definitely look after you.
And
I'll give you touristy spots.
Please. Yes.
Because I love our culture and her history. We have so many monuments, and we're still discovering so many monuments and historical statues around Iraq as a whole, and they're just so beautiful.
It's incredible, the cultural heritage sites and artifacts. I mean, it's so rich in that.
It puts you in a trance, really.
Yeah, it's like World Heritage at your fingertips.
Yes,
it's incredible.
Definitely.
Now, what about the song?
The song.
Oh,
Forgot.
okay. Let me think. Can I give you some artists? A list of artists, maybe?
Okay, why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we can like
Some of my faves.
I mean, DJ K is really like excited about it.
yeah.
She's not.
Excellent. Okay, so here's my very rough list.
Okay.
Okay.
Without thinking. Okay. So I think you have to listen to Sam Cooke from the 60s.
Oh, he's
A Change Is Gonna Come, one of the best songs ever written in American music, hands down.
Yes.
Etta Jones, Voice of an Angel, no? Ray Charles, a legend.
Oh my God, definitely. Ray Charles.
And to kind of shift it in another direction in terms of like maybe country and folk, Willie Nelson, anyone?
Never heard of.
I've heard of him.
I mean,
heard
he's a legend.
He is, yes.
If you like bluegrass or country, Alison Krauss.
Alison Krauss. I don't think I've heard of.
She's contemporary. She plays the fiddle and sings.
That thing. She's really cool. You know, we've never played some songs like that before. You should definitely.
Okay.
You know what the criddle is?
No, not really. Not really.
Oh, it's definitely an American instrument. You have to check it out. You have to check her out as well.
We'll show you a picture of
Yeah.
it later on.
I'm into rock music and heavy metal.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, well, then my last one, which is probably not your forte, is Dolly Parton. She's like a national treasure.
Yes, Dolly.
Amazing
Miss
singer,
Dolly
songwriter.
Parton.
We had like this singer from like Lebanon. Her name was Sabah. I mean, she passed away a long time ago.
She could be.
And
Yeah,
she's
she could
like-
be our Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should like Google her.
I will.
Sabah.
I recently
Yes,
discovered Shada Hassoun.
Shada Hassoun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I recently discovered her music. But if you have recommendations of others,
Oh, I
know.
know they have
Okay.
a lot of recommendations.
Okay.
Okay. So apparently, like we have a long list.
Yes.
And I'm really like excited about it because like you mentioned some names that I like never heard of.
Okay.
So I'm gonna learn a lot about them. Thank you so much.
No.
This is gonna like even help.
He's going to Google it.
Please do. Yes, Google them. But in turn, you have to send me your list so I can listen to them.
That's a deal.
Yeah?
I think.
Well,
his.
most people like don't like my taste in the music.
I'll still
send you
listen to
my
it. I'll
list.
try it.
Oh, look, how nice.
I know, right?
So nice.
Okay, it's all good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do
Definitely.
this interview with us. You know, it's been just amazing.
It has.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I appreciate the
We've
opportunity.
learned so much about you and about the embassy and what you guys are doing to better improve the lives of everybody here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, starting them young.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.